Sometimes in life, we find ourselves stuck in situations that make us uncomfortable, unsure of how to move forward. We hold on to people, places, and things that no longer serve us, out of fear, habit, or the belief that we have no other options. But there comes a time when we must make the difficult decision to walk away, even if it means letting go of something we once thought we couldn't live without. I remember the first time I realized I needed to walk away. It was a year after I graduated from college. I had been in a relationship with Ryan for almost 2 years. He was everything I thought I wanted: charming, attractive, funny, and successful. We met in college, and it was one of those whirlwind relationships that seemed perfect at first. We connected instantly, shared similar interests, and spent hours talking about our dreams for the future. Everything seemed easy, effortless. He was my best friend, my confidant, my partner in every sense of the word. Or so I thought. But as time went on, cracks began to show. At first, they were small, little things that I could overlook because I was in love, because I wanted to believe that everything was perfect. Ryan became increasingly distant, emotionally unavailable, and less supportive of my dreams. Whenever I brought up my goals, he would dismiss them with a laugh or change the subject. When I needed him to be there for me, he wasn't. He would often cancel plans at the last minute or show up late, leaving me feeling unimportant. And yet, every time I questioned him about it, he would apologize and promise things would get better. He made me feel like I was the one overreacting, the one who was being unreasonable. But the truth was, I wasn't overreacting. I wasn't unreasonable. I was simply asking for the same respect, the same love, the same attention that I was giving him, and I wasn't getting it. Still, I stayed. I convinced myself that things would get better, that maybe I was just being too sensitive. I told myself that all relationships have their ups and downs, and that this was just a phase. I wanted to believe that the man I fell in love with still existed underneath all the indifference. But deep down, I knew that wasn't true. Ryan had changed, and I had changed with him. The turning point came one rainy evening. Ryan and I had been fighting a lot recently, mainly because I was finally starting to speak up about how I was feeling. I told him that I needed more from him, more emotional support, more respect, more effort. But instead of listening, he became defensive. He accused me of being too needy, of trying to control him, of not appreciating everything he was doing for me. That night, after another argument, I sat in my car, crying, staring out at the rain. I realized that I was exhausted. I had been giving so much of myself to this relationship, but it wasn't reciprocated. I was pouring my heart into someone who wasn't willing to meet me halfway. I remember asking myself a simple question in that moment. Why am I still here? Why am I holding on to something that's only causing me pain? Why am I allowing myself to be in a relationship where I feel unseen, unheard, and unappreciated? It was then that I made the hardest decision of my life. I chose to walk away. I had spent so long holding on to the hope that things would improve, but I realized that waiting for change was only delaying my own happiness. I needed to walk away for my own peace of mind, for my own well-being. It wasn't going to be easy, and I knew there would be pain and heartbreak, but I also knew that staying would only prolong the inevitable. The next day, I called Ryan and asked him to meet me. I had no idea what I was going to say, but I knew it had to be done. When I saw him, the familiar feeling of nervousness crept over me. I had been preparing myself for this moment for so long, but now that it was here, I wasn't sure if I was strong enough to go through with it. I sat down across from him, took a deep breath, and said the words that I had been avoiding for so long. Ryan, I think it's time for us to end things. His face fell, and for a moment there was silence. I could see the shock in his eyes, but I wasn't going to back down. I had made up my mind. I had spent too many months trying to make things work, too many nights crying over someone who didn't appreciate me. I couldn't keep doing it. I couldn't keep sacrificing my own happiness for someone who wasn't willing to meet me halfway. I don't understand, he said, his voice low. What's wrong? I thought we were happy. Why are you doing this? I've been unhappy for a long time, Ryan, I said, my voice shaking but firm. I don't feel valued, and I don't feel supported. I'm not asking for much. I just need someone who is willing to put in the effort, someone who respects me the way I respect them. Ryan looked down, clearly hurt. He didn't say anything for a moment, and I could see the struggle in his eyes. But even though it hurt to see him like that, I knew that walking away was the best thing for both of us. I had to let go of the version of our relationship that I had been holding on to. I had to let go of the hope that things would magically get better. And most importantly, I had to let go of the fear that I wouldn't be able to survive without him. I never meant to hurt you, he said quietly. I don't know what happened. I thought everything was fine. I know you didn't mean to hurt me, I replied, my voice softening, but I can't keep pretending that everything is fine when it's not. I need to take care of myself now, and I hope you can understand that. For a long time, we just sat there, not saying anything. I felt a mixture of sadness and relief wash over me. The sadness came from knowing that this was the end of something that had once been beautiful. The relief came from knowing that I had made the right choice for myself. When I left that meeting, I felt like a weight had been lifted off my shoulders. I knew that walking away was the best thing I could do, even if it meant going through the pain of ending a relationship. I had chosen to prioritize my own happiness and well-being, and that was something I had never done before. For the first time in a long time, I felt like I was taking control of my life again. The days following the breakup were hard. I missed Ryan, of course. It's hard not to miss someone you've shared so much with. But as the days passed, I began to realize that I was finally starting to heal. I was no longer tied to a toxic situation. I could focus on myself, my goals, and my future. I could start building the life I wanted without feeling like I was constantly compromising or sacrificing my happiness for someone else. In the months that followed, I learned a lot about myself. I learned that walking away isn't a sign of weakness, it's a sign of strength. It takes a lot of courage to let go of something that once meant everything to you. But sometimes, walking away is the only way to make room for something better to come into your life. And that's exactly what happened. I started focusing on my career, reconnecting with old friends, and rediscovering who I was outside of a relationship. I started to enjoy my own company again, and for the first time in a long time, I felt at peace. Looking back, I realized that walking away from Ryan was one of the best decisions I ever made. It wasn't easy, and it took time to fully heal, but it taught me that I am worthy of love, respect, and happiness. It taught me that I don't have to settle for less than I deserve. And most importantly, it taught me that sometimes the hardest thing you can do is also the best thing for you. Now, whenever I face a difficult situation, I remind myself that I have the strength to walk away when it's necessary. I know that walking away doesn't mean giving up. It means choosing yourself, choosing your happiness, and knowing that you deserve better. I carry that lesson with me every day, and it's something I'll never forget.